The midday sun beat down relentlessly. Emma squinted, adjusting the aperture on her camera. It was no use. The light was all wrong. Harsh shadows cut across the miniature scene she had carefully arranged. A lump formed in her throat. It was supposed to be perfect, just like the memories. The scene before her was simple. A miniature family gathered around a tiny picnic blanket. A woman with flowing brown hair laughed, her head thrown back in joyous abandon. Beside her, a man smiled, his arm wrapped protectively around a little boy and girl. They were frozen in time. A snapshot of happiness. A happiness that felt a million miles away. Emma lowered the camera, her heart aching. She had spent weeks painstakingly crafting this scene. Every detail, from the miniature picnic basket to the tiny dog frolicking at their feet, was a replica of a precious memory, a memory she desperately clung to, a memory that was now just a cruel illusion, taunting her with what she had lost. "It's okay," she whispered, her voice cracking. "We'll get it right." But the words rang hollow even to her own ears. Lowering herself onto the grass, Emma let out a shaky breath. The world seemed to tilt on its axis, or maybe it was just her world that was spinning out of control. She closed her eyes, willing the tears that threatened to spill over to recede. She couldn't fall apart, not now. The camera felt heavy in her hands, a symbol of the passion that had once consumed her. Photography had always been her escape, her way of freezing time, of holding on to fleeting moments of beauty. But now, it felt like a cruel reminder of all that she had lost, of the moments she could never recapture. She thought about the day she had taken the original photograph. They had been so happy, so full of life. Her husband, Mark, had insisted on capturing their impromptu picnic in the park. He had always been the sentimental one, the keeper of memories. Now those memories were all she had left. A sob escaped her lips. The pain was still so raw, so all-consuming. It threatened to drown her, to pull her under its suffocating weight. She had to be strong, for her children. But the thought of facing the world without Mark, without her anchor, filled her with a bone-deep terror. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves in the trees overhead, their shadows dancing across the miniature scene. Emma opened her eyes, her gaze drawn to the tiny family frozen in time. As she studied the scene, a strange sense of calm washed over her. It wasn't perfect, the lighting was off, the figures slightly askew, but somehow that made it all the more beautiful. It was in that moment that a profound realization dawned on her. Her memories, like this photograph, were not perfect. They were a kaleidoscope of moments, some clear, some blurry, some bathed in sunshine, others shrouded in shadow. But they were hers, and they were real. She had been so focused on recreating a picture-perfect past that she had failed to see the beauty in the imperfections. The way Mark's laugh lines crinkled around his eyes when he smiled, the way her children's faces lit up with mischief when they were up to their usual antics. These were the details that mattered, the ones that made up the tapestry of their lives. A small smile touched her lips. She didn't need a perfect photograph to remember. She had a lifetime of memories etched into her heart. And that was something that even the cruel hand of fate could never take away from her. The sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the lawn. Emma sat there for a long time, lost in thought. The weight of her grief was still there, a dull ache in her chest. But it no longer felt all-consuming. It had shifted, leaving a space for something else to grow. Hope. She thought about her life, about the choices she had to make. She could let her grief consume her, bury herself in the past. Or she could choose to honor Mark's memory by living the life they had dreamed of, a life filled with love, laughter, and adventure. The decision was both terrifying and liberating. For the first time since Mark's passing, Emma felt a flicker of excitement, a sense of possibility. She had a choice to make, and she knew deep down what she had to do. Section 5. A whiskery interruption. A soft meow broke through her thoughts. Emma looked down to see a ginger cat winding its way towards her, its tail held high in the air. It was a stray, a regular visitor to the park. She had often seen it basking in the sun or chasing butterflies with childlike abandon. The cat brushed against her leg, purring contentedly. Emma reached out a hesitant hand, stroking its soft fur. A wave of unexpected comfort washed over her. In that moment, the world seemed to shrink, and all that mattered was the warmth of the sun on her skin and the gentle rhythm of the cat's purring. Animals had a way of doing that, she mused. They didn't judge, didn't offer empty platitudes. They simply offered their presence, a silent acknowledgement of shared existence. And right now, that was exactly what Emma needed. Section 6. Finding solace in the ordinary. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Emma found herself filled with a sense of peace she hadn't felt in months. It wasn't the overwhelming, all-encompassing peace of a life untouched by sorrow. It was a quiet peace, a sense of acceptance that settled over her like a warm blanket. She watched as the ginger cat, its hunger sated by the generosity of park-goers, sauntered off into the gathering dusk. For a moment, she envied its simple existence, its ability to find joy in the ordinary. And then it occurred to her that maybe that was the key. Maybe joy wasn't something to be sought out in grand gestures or extraordinary experiences. Maybe it was in the everyday moments, in the simple act of breathing, of feeling the sun on your skin, of connecting with another living being. Section 7. The click of acceptance. Picking up her camera, Emma pointed it at the setting sun. She adjusted the lens, framing the shot. This time, she wasn't trying to capture a memory or recreate a lost moment. She was simply observing, absorbing the beauty of the world around her. As she pressed the shutter button, she heard a distinct click. But it wasn't just the sound of the camera capturing the image. It was the sound of something shifting within her, a letting go, an acceptance. The past was gone, but the future stretched before her, full of possibilities. She wouldn't forget Mark or the life they had built together, but she wouldn't let their memory hold her captive either. She would carry their love with her, a beacon guiding her forward. Section 8. Embracing the shadows, seeking the light. Packing up her things, Emma took one last look at the miniature scene. The shadows had lengthened, obscuring the details, but the figures still stood, a testament to the enduring power of love and memory. She realized that life, like photography, was all about light and shadow. There would be times of darkness, of grief and despair, but there would also be times of joy, of love, of breathtaking beauty. It was in embracing both the light and the shadows that one truly learned to see, to appreciate the full spectrum of human experience. And it was in those moments of darkness that one learned to appreciate the light all the more. Section 9. A new lens, a new perspective. As she made her way out of the park, Emma felt a sense of lightness she hadn't experienced in what felt like an eternity. The world seemed sharper, more vibrant. It was as if she was seeing it through a new lens, one that allowed her to appreciate the beauty in the ordinary, the hope in the face of despair. She thought about the photographs she wanted to take, the stories she wanted to tell, stories of resilience, of hope, of the enduring power of the human spirit, stories that celebrated life in all its messy, imperfect glory. Section 10. A journey forward. With each step forward, Emma felt the weight of the past lifting. She wasn't sure what the future held, but she was no longer afraid to embrace it. She had her memories, her children, and a newfound appreciation for the precious gift of life. And that was enough. For now, that was everything. The path ahead might be uncertain, but Emma knew one thing for sure. She would face it with courage, with grace, and with an open heart. The journey wouldn't be easy, but it would be hers. And that was all that mattered.